Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
All right, I saw a segment from Dan Patrick's show that I thought was interesting about the Cavs. Let's take a listen here.
The Cleveland Cavaliers are getting too good for shows, networks to avoid them. I mean, that's how good they've gotten, because I can guarantee you, Mothership and Fox and anybody else is going, oh, they won again. They won again. They're 55-10. That's tied for the fifth best record through 65 games in NBA history. You have to cover them. Now, not exciting. I watch them. They're a really good team. They're a balanced team. I mean, that's not the kind of thing where you go, hey, tonight, the Cavaliers. All right. Hey, tune in for teamwork tonight. Watch the Cavaliers play both ends of the floor.
I want to push back on this notion that the Cavs don't play an exciting brand of basketball, because they did this to the Spurs in the NBA, where people just kind of like labeled the Spurs as boring, despite the fact that the Spurs played basketball that was very similar to what we would see for years to come, that we would then label as exciting. But also this idea that like, oh, there's one way to be exciting, and if you don't fit this one way, then you are no longer an exciting team. And I think the onus is on the networks that pay billions of dollars to promote the game and to show the game on television, to be able to demonstrate why what the Cavs are doing is actually extremely exciting, why the technical precision of the Cleveland Cavaliers is very exciting, why the defensive prowess of the Cavaliers is very exciting. Really, like what you're saying when you say this, right? When you're saying an excellent team executing at a high level is not exciting, you're telling me that you don't think basketball is exciting, right? It was a similar thing with Tom Brady. If you don't love football, watching Tom Brady is boring. If you love football, watching Tom Brady is a lot more interesting. But the NFL didn't have a problem being able to market Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. It's basically the same thing when it comes to the level of excitement they generate, because Tom Brady wasn't out there running like Cam Newton. Tom Brady wasn't out there hurtling backwards or nothing like that. Tom Brady wasn't out there doing crazy feats of athleticism. What he was doing was playing excellent football. And the NFL found a way to market around that really well. Why, again, I keep pointing to this, and look, I know football is the most popular sport in America for reasons other than how the NFL markets the game. But we keep coming back to this whenever we talk about the problems the NBA has with how they've been presenting the game, or the problems that other leagues have. They make things problems that a better league would see as opportunities. Okay, the Cavs are the best team in the NBA. They're thinking about that, oh, this is a problem. They don't have a star. We don't know how to market that. They're making their lack of creativity on how to market the game everybody else's problem, when they should look at the Cavs and say, hey, that's something new. That's offering a different way of doing things. We need to market this. We need to make sure that we use our billions of dollars to try to let people know exactly why what the Cavs are doing is rare. And once you do that, people will point it out and notice it, and they will find enjoyment and excitement in watching the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I watched every game this season. I'm telling you right now, they're a fun-ass team to watch. I don't know what Dan Patrick talking about. But it's that laziness that has hit a lot of the people who have covered the game for a long time. Or maybe it's not laziness. Maybe that's an unfair word. But it is a stagnated mindset that if this is not what I'm used to, I don't know what to do with it. Therefore, it's bad. When it's just something new. I think that's what the NBA's media landscape needs more than anything. They need new, fresh blood in there. They need to stop relying, on retired players who played the game in the 90s. They need to stop relying on the same voices who have been promoting the game since the 90s. They need to start relying on other people. They need to start putting new faces forward, people who understand this new game and can communicate why what the NBA is now is exciting to watch, and put those people in front of the megaphone instead of putting the people who are still frustrated that this isn't the 90s. This isn't Jordan. This isn't Bron and Steph, right? This isn't what I'm used to, and having those people speak for the game. That's really the NBA's biggest problem. This is an opportunity. The Cavs and the Thunder being this good is an opportunity for the NBA, because when LeBron was on top, all I heard about was how people wanted something new. When Steph was on top, all I heard about was how people wanted something new. Well, now you're getting something new. Now you don't know who's going to win the championship. You don't know who's going to be in the NBA Finals. How is that not an opportunity for you as a league? But you have people in place that are used to it being one way, and instead of seeing an opportunity, they see a problem. That's really the crux of it, right?
Cavaliers, 55-10. The Warriors in 2015 went 59-6. The 1995 Bulls, love them, went 58-7. The Bulls in 96 went 56-9. The 76ers in 82 went 56-9. Those are the only teams who have had a better record through 65 games. And please don't do this. Please, if you're an analyst at a network or a radio show, don't say the following. Yeah, but what are they going to do in the postseason? This is about the regular season. If that's the case, do we go, yeah, Shai Gilgeous MVP, but what's he going to do in the postseason? This is about the regular season. It's like the Seattle Mariners won 116 games. I didn't think they were built for the playoffs, but you still have to acknowledge that they won 116 games, and they proved not to have a pitching staff that was built for the postseason. But Cleveland has done a wonderful thing here.
He alludes to something here, and I agree with it. We are losing recipes in how to make people care about sports in general. And a lot of it revolves around this idea of every fan base for every sport constantly feeling like it's championship or bust. Like, if my team can't win a championship within the next 3 years, then why am I even rooting for them? That's how a lot of people approach sports now. That is an awful way to do it. That is not a sustainable way to do it. I often talk about it, right? As much as winning a championship is important, there are other things that your team can accomplish that feel similar to winning a championship. Now, it's not the same as winning a championship, but they are similar. You talk about them for a very, very long time, even though these teams didn't achieve championships, because they did achieve something in the hearts of the people who watch those teams. The Cavs are an example of this. Everybody who is a Cavs fan knows about the miracle of Richfield. Might not know the specific details of it, but you know the Cavs won a big game. It was a miracle of Richfield. We know that the Cavs didn't win a championship until 2016. That was not an NBA Finals moment. That wasn't a championship game moment. I don't even think that meant the Cavs went to the NBA Finals that year. But what it was a huge win for the early Cavs, the first big win in franchise history. And it meant something. It meant so much that the guys on that team, Campy Russell, Austin Carr, became fixtures of the franchise from that day on. Austin Carr, still Mr. Cavalier. Campy Russell, still on the broadcast for the Cavs. They didn't win a championship, but they did achieve something, and that mattered, right? The 90s Cavs with Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, right? They didn't win a championship. They lost to Jordan. That doesn't define them, though. What defines them is what they did do, which is raise the bar for Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. And for that, Mark Price, still loved by this fan base till this day. Brad Daugherty, he's now taking the spot of Austin Carr. Didn't win a championship, certainly did achieve something. And the focus on championships has made people think that achieving something that's not a championship is meaningless. It's a consolation prize. But it's important. And we've forgotten how important that is. Not every season you're going to be a team with a chance to win a championship. Not every season is the goal to win the championship. Like if the Detroit Pistons win a series this season in the playoffs, that will feel as close to a championship as they're going to get this year, and they should enjoy and deserve that moment. That doesn't mean nothing, right? That means something. People worry about local attendance, local fan engagement to these teams. It's because you have told 25 fan bases that their season's not going to matter. They can't win a championship. And then when they watch NBA on TV, TNT, all they got up there is Shaq talking about, you ain't got no rings. They can't win no rings. They're not going to win a championship. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Ernie. Right? Like that's all you hear on NBA on TNT. You flip the channel to ESPN and you're waiting for them to finally talk about the Detroit Pistons, and the only way they talk about Detroit is like, well, they can't beat Boston in a 7-game series, so we're going to spend 2 seconds talking about this incredible season they've had. We don't promote the storylines that are actually happening in sports anymore. We don't promote the intriguing stuff about the game. Yeah, it might not be championship quality. Yeah, it might not lead to a championship. Yeah, it's not the main story of that season, right? Obviously, the main story of that season is what teams are in the championship picture. Obvious. But we don't promote the side quest anymore. We don't find the joy in the side quest anymore. And the side quests are what keeps everybody engaged in the main story. And the more and more you let these side quest stories like the Detroit Pistons having this fantastic turnaround die on the vine because they're not going to win a championship, Ernie. Like just when you let that happen, the more damage you do to that main story, which is getting anybody to care about who's going to win the damn championship. This stuff matters. We have to make it matter. We have to promote stories and talk about them that matter. People are trying to cut around and just talk about the only thing, right? The championship picture. All this other shit matters. It's how you promote the game. It's how you promote the league. I think Brian Windhorst is another one who talked about we're losing the stories. We're losing the recipes.
They play really good basketball. It's not maybe your type of basketball, exciting basketball, flinging threes all over the place. But Seton makes a great point. This is about playing winning basketball. That's not exciting. That's not going to get you clicks. That's not going to get you the featured game on TNT or the mothership. But the Cavaliers beat the Nets. They've won 15 in a row. First NBA team to have multiple winning streaks of 15 or more games in a season since the 06 Phoenix Suns. They're that good that you have to cover them, which is kind of interesting. But I enjoy watching them. If you're going to talk about Shai Gilgeous, you got to give him the MVP because he's playing on the team with the best record in the West. Then you have to have consideration for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the team with the best record in the NBA. He's not going to win. He's probably going to get a ton of third place votes. It'll be SGA, then it'll be Joker, and then it'll be Donovan Mitchell. Just be fair. Cover the sports.
I don't know anybody who's going to put. Am I tripping? I don't think Donovan Mitchell's going to get votes for MVP this year. Like it's not been that kind of season for him, right? He's not like a career high in anything. He's pretty efficient this year. I'm not saying he wouldn't deserve the votes if he got it, but this don't feel like a season where Donovan Mitchell. See, no disrespect to Dan Patrick. Dan's been doing this a long time, but you see what I mean by like we're falling back on formulas, and it's like, oh, best player on the best team. And I think Dan alluded to it, but I think unironically Dan's kind of demonstrating it. The Cavs are so good that people had to cover them and they're not used to covering the Cavs, and it's caught them flat-footed, right? And it's very interesting to see it, right? Because you're getting to see in sports media who are the people who actually do the job, do the work, and who are the people who survive off of producer cheat sheets, cut-ups, and all the other resources they get at these big companies, right? Who's actually watching the games, who's actually trying to do it, and who's just showing up to TV, right? Happens at every line of work, right? You got the people who really want to do the job. You got the people who just show up. And not saying that Dan Patrick is that. Dan Patrick covers every single sport. So this is not a real criticism on Dan. This is more targeted towards the people who market themselves on ESPN, on Fox Sports as NBA analysts, right? Like the people who specialize in talking about the NBA. If you are somebody who has to talk about everything, I understand that you're going to be on a short list. Cool, whatever. You're not going to talk about everything because you got to talk about it. Well, you're not going to watch everything because you got to talk about a little bit of everything. You're going to have some help there. But a lot of people who are analysts, right, like the NBA on TNT guys, Shaq should know more about some of the stuff going on in the NBA. I know the whole thing about him going viral because he missed the clip. He thought that Chauncey Billups was the head coach of Detroit, and that's the problem, right? This is why I'm saying we need to just freshen this thing up and stop relying on these old, and just get new blood in there, because some of these dudes don't even want to really do the job. It's kind of crazy. And the Cavs' success, Oklahoma City's success, not being on the bingo card of some of these guys who did their prep before the year or decided what teams they're going to watch, what teams are not. And then the Cavs show up, catch them flat-footed. And it was one thing when the Cavs first did this before the All-Star break, but dog, we in March. And the success of the Cavs is still catching people in the national media visibly flat-footed, where they're just saying stuff about the team, and you're like, I don't think they watch. And that's crazy. That's crazy. I understand my job's a little simpler. I only have to watch 2 teams. Well, I have to watch way more than 2 teams, but you know what I mean. I've covered the Browns. I cover the AFC North. I cover the Cleveland Cavaliers. My scope is not as wide as everybody else's, right? If I worked at ESPN and I'm on First Take, you're going to have to talk about whatever's going on nationally and whatever pops up. It's a little bit different, right? The scope for that is a little bit different. But if a team has the best record in the NBA, you should keep up with them. And I've just noticed that there's a lot of people talking about the Cavs. I don't feel like they've watched a ton, which is interesting. And it's going to be even more obvious during the playoffs. But Dan, nice segment there from the Dan Patrick Show, talking about the nature of sports media and why it is that people feel like the Cavs are hard to cover. Y'all let me know what you think. Do you think that the Cavs are just a hard team to promote because of the way that they are lined up? Or do you think like me, where I think that, the people who market the league should try to just be a hair more creative and find a way to get people interested in what the Cavs do, because I don't think it's very hard. Cavs are fun watch. That's my opinion. Let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.